Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. Licensed lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island Licensed Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley, and Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this, they lob it to him, he taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3, he's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
They're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with RJ. I am Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And we are at week 3 of the college football season, and the biggest story is those Colorado Buffaloes. They started 2-0. Deion Sanders off to a great start. And the biggest question is right now, we know TCU last year wasn't expected to do good, and they started to surprise everyone throughout the season, and they eventually ended up in the national championship game. The big question is could this be the same for Colorado? Could Colorado you see what they're winning in week 1 and had that dominant win against Nebraska? Can they be the TCU of last year? And I'm going to say no. I still think the schedule is just too tough with USC and with Oregon and with Utah and with Oregon State on that schedule. So I'm going to say no. But they do have us talking about. They have done a great job being the lead story in college football. I definitely got to give them that.
Oh yes, they have. They definitely have. And I agree with you. They're not. They're not the TCU last year. So that Oregon game, as you mentioned, next week. On DraftKings right now, the look at lines like 14.5. Oregon's a 14.5 point favorite. So like that, let's see their defense step up. They faced maybe the worst quarterback in all of the FBS and Jeff Sims last week. Like he was horrible. He really helped out Colorado there. But yeah, I'm still not sold on this defense yet. We're gonna find out a lot. This is a big sandwich game this week. Colorado State rivalry, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm not sold yet on Colorado. Yeah, they've been a great story, and the chips on their shoulders and all that. Deion getting a prime for this, and they've succeeded what my standard or what they were going to do, and pretty much everyone else. But it's still not this team's not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah. It's just the schedule is just a little bit too tough. Yeah, I mean Travis Hunter's phenomenal. Shedeur Sanders is off to a great start, but yeah, still, they're I would be surprised if they do make the playoffs. And they've came a real long way from 1-11 to this point. They've came a long way. So yeah, I would not be. I don't think they're a playoff team.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, it's again people say they were one of the worst Power 5 teams in a long time last year, and the bringing this whole new roster of 87 guys and to kind of work like it has so far has pretty much surprised a lot of people. So, yeah, it's been very surprising start here, but yeah, we're gonna find out a lot about them when they face Oregon and USC in the next 2 weeks, and those are 2 games where you will not see much punting at all.
No, those are going to be interesting. Those are going to be very interesting to see them match up with Oregon next week, and then USC the week after, and then Utah and Oregon State later in the year. It's going to be really interesting to see Deion. I mean, the USC Colorado game is the game of the year. Let's be honest. You get Caleb Williams going up against Deion's Colorado team and Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. That's going to be the game of the year.
Yeah, hopefully it's close. Well, maybe USC's defense, they should be able to put up some points. Yeah, that will be I'm very excited to see what that over-under is because I'd be very shocked that thing's not at like 82. That's going to be an absolute shootout. Yeah, we'll find out Monday what time that game will be. I would assume game day is going to be there.
Oh, they gotta be. They gotta be.
I think it's Fox's pick that week too. So,
imagine if that's a noon game.
I think it might. Like that's Fox's game. I don't think they've picked one yet. Yeah, I think it's Fox's first pick that has that week. So,
wow,
that could be a noon game.
Well, that would be crazy.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a 9 a.m. kick.
Nuts. That would be nuts. Yeah, I mean it's
kick, yeah.
Oh, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I'm really interested to see what they do because there are some deficiencies with this team. I think their defense wasn't great in week one. I mean, they have 42 points. Last week they struggled on offense. As Deion said, they've not put a full game together yet, but still, they've been so impressive these first 2 weeks.
No, they have. They've been very fun to watch. They got dudes. Sanders, Travis Hunter. Weaver's been really good as well. The South Florida transfer. They get, and then Dylan Edwards too, the number 1 overall recruit. They've been so impressive. It just we'll find out what happens when there's a couple injuries up front, because that offensive line just has no depth to it. Even on the defense, there's just not either. So yeah, we'll find out a lot. But yeah, Sanders he's done a tremendous job. And like the one knock I kind of heard before the year, just people that kind of saw him at Jack State was he wasn't a great X's and O's coach, and he seems like he's done pretty good so far, but it is early. And Sean Lewis, who's a great offensive coordinator, he was at Kent State, the head coach, and you kind of seen what happened, since he's left. Sean Lewis is one of the best play callers in the country as well. But yeah, this Colorado team's fun to watch. Sanders and that staff they've done a great job getting this team prepared and motivated because it's been a shock to a lot of people.
Absolutely. And they got another game this week. They got the rivalry game against Colorado State, and I don't think there's a problem in this game. I think they cruise. They win this one big. I got Colorado big in this game. 38-10. I assume you got the same.
This is a sandwich game here for the Buffs. You got a Colorado State team that
all right, last week you said Nebraska was going to play them tough. They did for a little bit, but Colorado won that one convincingly. You're not going to convince me that Colorado State's going to play Colorado tough.
Well, so the Buffalo, they've been all okay. Like, what's the chip on their shoulder this week? Like, what's the motivation factor this week for them? Because a lot of those kids are not from Colorado. Colorado State's got a lot of in-state kids that are coming off a bye who just got taken to the woodshed by Washington State. I'm not saying the Rams are going to win, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Rams cover this week.
If they can't beat Washington State, how the heck are they going to beat Deion in Colorado?
Washington State's pretty good. I like the head coach Jay Norvell. I thought they had a couple really good transfer pickups, but I thought the Rams would be better this year. They haven't so far, but they're coming off a bye here. And again, for Colorado, it's like, do you really care about Colorado State here? Like, they're probably looking ahead to Oregon next week. Like, I could definitely see this being a look ahead where Colorado State kind of keeps this thing interesting for a while. And maybe the talent of Colorado takes over late in the second half and they find a way to kind of go on cruise control, but wouldn't be shy to see the Rams keep this thing interesting here for a bit.
Yeah, but come on. I mean, this is Colorado State against a mighty Colorado team that's 2-0. So yeah, I know there might be Colorado State players that played for Colorado last year. I don't know if there are or not, but still, I think this is going to be they're going to cruise 38-10.
It could definitely happen. It could. I'm just, again, they're still 18 to 20-year-old kids, to 22-year kids.
What's your prediction for this one?
I'm going to take the Buffalo here 41-24. So I do have them cruising, but I do think this game is going to be close for a while. I think the Rams play a lot better than they did against Washington State a couple weeks ago.
Oh, wow. So we'll see. You got the rivalry game Saturday night on ESPN. But we gotta move down to the big noon kickoff game. That's between Penn State and Illinois. Illinois lost last week. Penn State is 2-0. I think this game will be close for a little while. I do think the game will be close for a little bit. I think that that Aller will struggle a little bit being on the road, first road game in the Big Ten. But in the second half, Penn State will pull away. Singleton will have a big game. Drew Aller will have a pretty big game too. I think their defense will have a good game as well. I got Penn State going to 3-0 and 1-0 in the Big Ten, beating Illinois 34-17. But Justin, we all remember what happened 2 years ago when Brett Bielema faced Penn State. Had that 9 overtime game. Can he beat Penn State for the second straight time?
No, I get the Nittany Lions. Same score as you, 34-17. Illinois secondary is very young, and Jaden Daniels at Kansas last week absolutely kind of exposed them. He had an awesome game. And I think you're going to like what I'm going to say. I think Drew Aller right now is the best quarterback in the Big Ten.
I agree with you. I agree with you because JJ McCarthy, come on, he just hands the ball off.
Yeah.
And Kyle McCourty really hasn't proven it yet. Yeah, no, I agree with you there with that comment about Drew Aller.
Yeah, I've been really impressed. Like that West Virginia game, I thought he made some nice throws there on like 3rd and long, cruising at Delaware. But I think this is a game where maybe Illinois keeps this thing interesting, early on. But Illinois' running game hasn't been great so far either, and that's what Bielema's bread and butter. Illinois comes out, plays hard, but yeah, I think Drew Aller and that Penn State offense just has enough. And I think that defense as well, Luke Altmaier, he might be the best quarterback in the West, but that's not saying a lot.
Yeah, the West is absolutely
it's
pathetic.
Bad.
It's
pathetic.
bad.
The winner, whoever comes out of that may get killed by whatever 3 teams come out of the East. So yeah, this might be interesting for a little bit, but Penn State should take care of business here in Champaign.
Absolutely. We got another noon game. We got LSU traveling to Mississippi State. Mississippi State is 2-0. LSU is 1-1. I think this is actually a really close game. I think Will Rogers and Jaden Daniels, I think they're going to go back and forth. It's going to come right down to the end. And I think that LSU wins it on a game-winning field goal. I got LSU beating Mississippi State 30-27. But Justin, can Mississippi State hand Brian Kelly and the Tigers their second loss of the season?
Yeah, I want to pick the Bulldogs, but there's some culture issues going around right now in LSU. It does not sound like it's all rainbows and sunshine like it was last year. But I think LSU's got a little bit too much talent still. And Mississippi State, the problem here too is Zach Arnett, the D coordinator last year, took over from Mike Leach in the tragic situation last year, and he went total 180 from the air raid. They're trying to be more of a ground and pound team, which I don't think works in the SEC West, especially when you have Alabama and LSU and Georgia's. It just doesn't work. And I saw a tweet from CBS College Sport, Tom Fernelli, and he was, like last year, the first 3 seasons with Mike Leach, Mississippi State ran the ball only 25% of the time, and they averaged 51 pass attempts per game. So far under Zach Arnett, they're running the ball 60% of the time, and they're only passing 23 times a game. So it's a total 180 from a team that's built to run the air raid. So I don't really like it. They still got Will Rogers, who's a solid quarterback, who could pick apart this LSU secondary. I just don't know how many chances he might get to do in this game.
Yeah. It's gonna be a tough one. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one for Mississippi State, but I do think they're gonna move the ball. I do think they'll move the ball in LSU. You saw Florida State do it. I think they will, and I think it's close. But I think LSU wins close.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd like to see Mississippi State win this one, but yeah, I don't know. I think LSU's got a little bit too much talent. Yeah, they say they will move the ball. I think Daniels will make we'll make a couple more plays and we'll ride in this game.
All righty, so we got another SEC matchup in Georgia as we got South Carolina and Georgia going at it. I think Georgia wins this and wins it by 3 or 4 scores. I think that they run the ball well. I think Beck has a pretty good game. I think Rattler throws a couple of interceptions. South Carolina really disappointed me against UNC a couple weeks ago. I got Georgia winning at 34-10, and Justin, I assume you got the same.
Yeah, this one's to be ugly. If North Carolina got 9 sacks against South Carolina, Georgia's defense is going to have a field day. They haven't been – I know you look at the scores and they kind of look 48-7 over UT Martin and Ball State, 45-3, but I haven't been too impressed with Carson Beck, and they've gone off to some slow starts so far. So we'll see if Georgia kind of turns it on this week. But, look, I just think it's going to be tough for Rattler to do much at all in this game. I thought even under duress that entire game, North Carolina, Spencer Rattler actually played pretty well. But in this one, yeah, this is going to be ugly. I got Georgia win this one 38-13. This is not going to be a fun day for the Gamecocks.
Nope. We'll talk about Alabama and them trying to bounce back from last week as they go to UCF. I think this will be a blowout. I think Alabama wins this big. I think Milroy has a bounce back game. It's a big game. That's why I got Bama winning this big. I got Bama 41-10 over South Florida.
Yeah, this one's going to be ugly. 45-14. I got the Crimson Tide rolling. Usually Saban likes to put a pounding on teams after a loss. South Florida had one of the worst defenses all of college football last year. They're still kind of rebuilding it. They got a new coaching staff in here. They've struggled the first couple weeks offensively as well. They might put up some yards here, but there's just not enough talent there. I think Jalen Milroe, has a really good game passing and throwing, and maybe we see a Tyler Buchanan or a Ty Simpson, two of the other quarterbacks of the Crimson Tide playing this game. South Florida's not going to be able to do what Texas did last week and kind of take them, beat them over the top.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Got Minnesota heading to Chapel Hill to face North Carolina. And in this game, I think Minnesota keeps it close early, but I think eventually Drake May and the Tar Heels pull away and they win this by a couple scores. I think Drake May is a really good game. He's been playing really well for North Carolina. I don't even know North Carolina struggled last week. He's been playing pretty well for them. I got North Carolina beating Minnesota 31-20. Justin, though, can Minnesota pull off the big upset in Chapel Hill?
No, I get the Tar Heel win this one 27-17. Yeah, App State always plays the Tar Heels very tough. That's a solid program down the Sun Belt, always competitive. But yeah, Drake May makes more plays against a solid Minnesota defense. Minnesota's offense is a big work in progress. Their quarterback, they nicknamed the Greek gunslinger. From listening to the coaching staff and all that, in the preseason too, they're kind of he's a year away, and you could kind of tell he wasn't great against Nebraska. They did enough against Eastern Michigan. They ran the ball really well. But I really like the progress North Carolina's defense has made. I think Minnesota makes some plays early offensively, but there's not enough. And they'll have, Drake May will make enough big plays in this one, and North Carolina will cruise to 3-0.
We got the Huskies of Washington heading to East Lansing this week. And I think Washington wins this game pretty decisively. I think Michael Penix has a big game. I think their defense forced a couple turnovers for Michigan State. And Michigan State, we know the issues with Mel Tucker. I think Washington wins this one pretty convincingly. I got to win it 31-14 over Michigan State. And Justin, I assume you got the same.
Oh yeah, I love the Huskies in this one, 41-17. Michigan State secondary is still not very good. Their offense is still bad, brutal. They played Central Michigan week 1 and had issues there until the fourth quarter. They were only up 17-3. And I saw Central Michigan last week. Pretty much that whole game played New Hampshire. New Hampshire had 560 yards of offense at the FCS school. Just absolutely tear apart Central Michigan. So yeah, this Michigan State offense has got some issues. They do have UConn transfer Nathan Carter, the running back, who's had a couple of really solid games on the ground. But Washington, Michael Penix Jr. is going to absolutely torch that secondary. And Washington secondary, question marks. But Michigan State, Noah Kim is not the quarterback that's going to take them apart. In the Mel Tucker situation, I will say he should have been suspended either December or July, and I don't know why they waited till now. Horrible situation there. Michigan State botched another investigation.
God.
That athletic department's got some issues.
Yeah, that athletic department's a joke. And here's the thing. Here's the question I have. Do you think Mel Tucker will coach another game again for Michigan State?
No chance. No.
Really? It's over?
Yeah, it's over. It's a back and forth thing. It's, he said, she said, but the court date is scheduled during Michigan bye week on October 5th and 6th. That's where I would assume you're probably going to see him be officially fired. They're probably so they don't have to pay the buyout. They're waiting for this court date to be official and after the court date so that he can't sue back to try to get any of that money back. So yeah, I think he's done. And if the statements are true, which the investigation's closed, so I would feel like what's out there is probably true, but you still never know. He definitely should not be coaching another game for Michigan State or any program anytime soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree with you there. We'll wrap up college football talking about the SEC matchup on Saturday night between Tennessee and Florida. You got Joe Milton in Tennessee facing Graham Mertz in Florida. And I think, they keep it close early. The Swamp will be rocking on a Saturday night. But eventually, I think Joe Milton and Tennessee takes over in the second half, and they pull away. And they force a couple turnovers from Graham Mertz because, as we know, Graham Mertz is not a good quarterback. He is not a good quarterback at all. And I got Tennessee beating Florida 31-17. But Justin, can Mertz and the Gators pull the upset and pretty much ruin Tennessee's season on Saturday night?
I think they keep this thing close. You're going to the Swamp Saturday night. The biggest favorite, Tennessee's been down there since like at least 1976. Like I think the biggest before this was like a 2-point. They were a 2-point favorite. And I think for Billy Napier and this Florida team, like this is such a big game for them. Where I think they keep this thing close. I'm not sold on Joe Milton. Like their offense was very pedestrian, and they already had a players only meeting.
Wow, I think
last week after the game, which raised a lot of, sorry, you got me again?
No, I got you again. Yeah, I got you. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, they already had a players only meeting last week, which seems very odd. The Vols did for being 2-0. Like the offense wasn't great. I'm not sold on Joe Milton. I think Graham Mertz makes a couple plays against his defense. But again, Florida's got to be able to run the ball better. They struggled into Utah. They struggled last year when Anthony Richardson wasn't run the football. But I think Florida keeps the thing close. But I think Tennessee just got a little bit too much talent. I get the Vols in this one, 31-27.
Yeah, that should be an interesting game between those two teams. That should be a really, really good game between those two big rivalry game on Saturday night in the Swamp. But the Yankees and Jason Dominguez, unfortunately won't be seeing him till July. And which team has the better future, the Yankees or the Red Sox? But before we talk about that, we are going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
Disappointing news for the Yankees after their walk-off win against the Brewers on Sunday. With their young star Jason Dominguez, he now has a torn UCL, and he is going to be out until probably at least the start of July next year. And it's a little disappointing because I was excited to see this guy play at the start of the season, and I was thought with him and with Judge and improved DJ LeMahieu and Anthony Rizzo, and I thought maybe this team would be decent next year. I thought that maybe this team would get a wild card. But I think this is definitely going to be a loss for this team. Yes, they still have Esteban Florio that can play center field, but I think this is going to be a big loss because this was the guy in that lineup that could hit. This was that third guy in that lineup with Judge and Stanton. So this is a little bit disappointing. This is a little bit of a setback for him, but I definitely hope he comes back from this because he got off to such a great start to his Yankee career.
Yeah, it just has an end for the Yankees this year. It's kind of been one bad blow after another, and they've been playing better. And yeah, Dominguez was a huge part of that kind of winning streak. And yeah, he's been so fun to watch. The 4 home runs in 7 games he had, like he burst on the scene, and he was not fazed by all the expectations he had. And yeah, I was excited to kind of see him full season next year. How's he doing in the middle of the lineup now that kind of teams have seen him and have more video on him. But yeah, they kind of miss him, for the first couple of months probably. Yeah, it's gonna be a tough blow because right now in this lineup you got Judge, you got LeMahieu, like that's about it right now that you kind of feel confident about. Like, is Glaber here next year? Like, he's a free agent after next season, so like, if the Yankees don't want to resign him, you feel like they probably trade him this offseason. So, it's so you're not even sure if maybe even Glaber's here next year. So yeah, it's disappointing. And he's a guy that was gonna hopefully be a centerpiece of this team, to start next season. But yeah, unfortunately won't be there. Hopefully, hopefully May or June. Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm thinking July. I'm thinking July at the earliest. I think they said like 7 to 9 months. So I'm thinking July.
Harper came back in late May, early June, I think it was.
You never know. Yeah. But it's just a tough blow. It's just a tough blow for this team. And this could have been a guy that could help this team be in contention in the first half. And if he misses most of the first half, this team could have trouble being in contention, because we know they won't be in the playoffs this year, but next year this definitely could hurt them from being in contention next year.
Yeah, it definitely could, because now you got to kind of figure out center field now for a little bit, and do you throw Judge out there? IKF, I think it's going to be a free agent. I don't know if he's on the plans to be re-signed or not, but yeah, so it's something where you're going to miss a kind of big hole in this lineup, and somebody that was going to have huge production. Yeah, really, all these rookies I think kind of help jolt this team, because they have been playing better since they all got caught up. And yeah, Dominguez, who so far looks like the best one, yeah, going to be out for a while, or at least for the first half of next year. Yeah, it's a really tough blow, and it stinks. They kind of have the first week that he did, and now it's like, all right, now you don't, now we won't get to see you for another, 7 to 9 months. And yeah, it's a tough blow.
Absolutely. Now, getting to the Yankees and the Red Sox, we know these teams are not making the playoffs. The Yankees swept the doubleheader yesterday. I don't want to hear these fans, these both teams saying, "Oh, we're not mad, eliminated." You're eliminated. Get over it. So the big question is who has the better future right now, the Yankees or the Red Sox? Very hard question. But we've talked about this, about these Yankee young core, about Jason Dominguez, Austin Wells, Peraza, Pereira, the guys they brought up. I think eventually Dominguez is going to be good for this team. I think Wells is going to be good for this team. I think Peraza is going to be good for this team. I think Pereira could even be good for this team. I do think that the Yankees have a decent future going forward. And for the Red Sox, it's hard for me to tell, because it's hard for me to tell. The team I would say would have the better future. It all depends on one thing: what the Red Sox do with Chaim Bloom. If Chaim Bloom is gone, I'm actually going to say the Red Sox, because I think just offensively they're right now a better team than the Yankees. But because I think if Chaim Bloom goes, they're going to get a GM that's going to get pitching to go with that offense. But if Chaim Bloom stays, I think it's going to be the Yankees, because of the young talent. I know it's unproven, but the young talent they have. So I think this question depends on what Chaim Bloom, what the Red Sox do with Chaim Bloom. If they keep Bloom, I'm going to say the Yankees. If they don't keep Bloom, I'm going to say the Red Sox.
Yeah. I think I'm going with the Red Sox.
Even with that fool up in the front office.
Yeah, because I think all they need is pitching. Like that, like you mentioned, that lineup's good. They'll get Duran back too next year. Casas has had an awesome second half of the year. They already got Devers signed, for the next decade or so. Story's been struggling offensively. You feel like, hopefully next year, for his sake and the team's sake, he'll get it going offensively next year. And you have Alex Coy as your manager. Like, they're back in the bullpen. Martin's still signed through next year. You got Jansen. You still got Winkowski. Like, those are 3 guys you can rely on late in the game. And again, like, they just need the pitching. And there's not a ton of it.
But haven't we said this since Chaim Bloom has gotten here? They just need the pitching. It's been 4 years. Where has the pitching been? They haven't got, outside of Bello, who have they developed? Who's the prospect that's came in? Who is he went out and signed? Pretty much nobody.
No.
Don't say Evaldi, because Evaldi was still on the team.
Yeah, he was already there. yeah, like Houck been okay.
Houck's
but
been, no, I think Houck's been terrible. Look at his ERA. It's garbage.
It's not, yeah. He showed us it's coming off the IL. Whitlock's been very hit or miss, but he's been kind of mostly bullpen of late. So, yeah, if you can that's the thing. Like, do they go out and spend? They're under the luxury tax. So you would think they would try to go sign somebody that's off. That's a thinking. But, yeah, like, I don't, feels like nobody really knows what's going to happen to Heimblum this offseason. But I have to imagine if he somehow comes back, that ownership group kind of goes, you got one chance, but you got one season here. We got to make the playoffs. You would think he would go out and sign pitching. You would think. So that's why I just right now, even if he does come back, I feel like this offseason they do go out and go get pitching. And I just don't trust the fact he's going to go out and get pitching. I don't trust the fact he's going to make the right moves to put this team in contention to win the AL East. He had a major chance at the deadline to get a Verlander, get a Scherzer, get a Giolito, get a pitcher in here to get this team to the playoffs, to help get this team to the playoffs. They had just beaten the Braves 2 games at Fenway Park, and they were like 9 or 10 games over 500. Mm-hmm. Now they're 1 game under. They got swept to the Blue Jays. They got swept to the Astros. This guy has done a terrible job at the trade deadline improving this team. He sold to the fan base, we got Chris Sale and we got Chris Sale as a reinforcement. Chris Sale's been garbage. We have Houck as a reinforcement. He's been garbage too. So I just don't trust that this GM is going to get it done. I really don't. And he needs to be fired. He absolutely needs to be fired. No, he does. It's going to be interesting if they do it. I don't think anybody really, it sounds like more the league of he will be, but it's up to I don't, because nobody knows that the ownership group actually does like that he's not spending money. And that's the thing. I think that's the thing is the ownership group probably does. The ownership group is probably even a bigger issue than him because since they won that World Series in 2018, they probably didn't want to spend money. That's why they got rid of Dombrowski, which was one of the worst moves. I think that's the worst move that ownership group ever made. Even worse than firing Francona because they won the World Series 2 years later. Yeah. No, it's one of the worst moves because they haven't been great. Heimblum had the 1 year there where they got the playoffs, they got the LCS. That's a fluke. That ALCS year is such a fluke. It's such an outlier. It's such a fluke. They got off to a great start. They were an average team in the second half of that year. Then they won that wild card game against the Yankees, got hot against the Rays in that series, but then the Astros completely exposed them in the ALCS. Yeah. No, they absolutely did, But that year he went out and got a college forward. That was a huge help. But he never re-signed him for whatever reason. But and I think that's the thing. And, with this ownership group too, they have so many more businesses now. It's kind of seems like maybe the Red Sox have kind of been put off, a little bit, before where that was kind of their main thing. But don't they own one of the soccer teams over in England now? They're trying to get or they did sign LeBron James, I think, to try to get a team eventually in Vegas, an NBA team. So, and they may even have a share now of the Pittsburgh Penguins, I think, too now. They have so many more businesses that it feels like, they're kind of, not as important as they once were, I guess. So, that's the big question here with that ownership group. But I still think I do like their future a little bit because I have to imagine he goes out and gets pitched. I know it doesn't, because I would think he would have to know, all right, we have to make the playoffs next year if he comes back. Would think that's his main priority this offseason is get pitching because you don't have to do anything else to that lineup. You need pitching. Absolutely. Without a doubt. You need pitching because your pitching is poor. Your pitching is terrible. You absolutely need it. It's the reason why you're not in this race right now. It's the reason why you've fallen out of this race. It's the reason why you got swept to Houston. You got swept to Toronto at home. So, you definitely need pitching. And listen, I'm not saying Brian Cashman shouldn't go either. Brian Cashman should absolutely be fired, but we know this organization, the Yankees, they're not going to do it. Of course they're not going to do it. But the two changes that clearly have to be made by both teams. The Yankees, they need a new manager. The Red Sox, they need a new GM. If the Yankees don't get a new manager next year, I think it's going to be more of the same for them. If the Red Sox don't get a new GM, it's going to be more of the same for them. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, the Yankees, again, that whole lineup needs reconstruction. The rotations, is good. Well, I don't really trust Rendon right now. There's still little bit questions there. You still got Cole who's going to win the Cy Young more than likely. But with the Red Sox, the only position where you could kind of say, in the lineup where maybe they need help is second base, but that's one spot where the Yankees kind of have multiple different holes. And now if Dominguez is out, center field's kind of a hole for the first kind of half maybe. So, yeah, both teams right now. I saw too on the Nesson broadcast the other day. This is the first time since 1976 where both the Yankees and Red Sox are going to finish, second to last and last place, in the division. So,
what do you mean 75? Or no,
75,
74.
76.
Probably 74 because 75 the Red Sox made the World Series. 76 the Yankees didn't. It's probably 74.
Okay, so maybe it was 74. I thought okay, but it was somewhere around the 70s there where it's a very odd thing for these two franchises to be at the bottom of the barrel like they have this year. So, yeah, next year, maybe the future's a little bit brighter, but yeah, I feel like the Red Sox maybe, feel are a little better spot right now than the Yankees are.
And the reason both are at the bottom of the barrel is management. It's management. Management has made the Yankees made poor decisions going into this season, going into this offseason. And the Red Sox, obviously, they made some good moves getting Yoshida and getting Justin Turner, but they didn't improve their rotation, and their trade deadline was horrific when they had a chance to make this. And again, they had a chance to make this a fun September in Boston, and Chaim Bloom completely ruined it for them.
Yeah. Especially because you could have won some games there when Texas was absolutely in a downslide. They didn't really take advantage of that, and, Toronto's kind of been up and down all year. Like, I know they started to play a little bit better a couple weeks ago, but they had opportunities here to try to gain some ground and try to get one of those wild card spots. And yeah, with what they did the trade deadline was very surprising. And, I've said it a couple times, Dever said it too. Like, everybody knows we need pitching. They never did. And Cole was wearing a shirt at trade deadline, we believe or something, or we're the underdog, something that Chaim said,
Oh, God. Oh, please stop it with him. You know why the reason you're the underdog? Because you haven't put the talent. You haven't gotten the talent on this team. That's the problem. And of course, back in 2020 when he didn't want, you remember his comment when he didn't want to sign Mookie Betts? He said, we weren't equipped to win with him after you won the World Series 2 years before that. It's just everything he says makes no sense at all.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not a favorite among the Boston faithful.
I bet.
No, I was telling a couple weeks ago the AI robot they got at a WEI during the shows. They'll when they talk about him, they'll bring him up, and it's pretty funny. But yeah, so he's not a fan favorite up there, and there's definitely, I think, some pressure of getting him out of town. So we'll see if that ownership group does it or not.
Yes, I think they need to. They will be much better going forward if they do. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin and Alfrio, I'm Steve Risser. We will be back next week talking about week 3 of the NFL season and a big week 4 of the college football season. So have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is his availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach of college basketball, hands down.
Vince 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. You're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.